everyone. This is a Popcorn Heroes review of Westworld Season 3, Episode 6.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the episode, though. It was like Grata something?
No, Decoherence.
Decoherence. There you go.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Some shit. I am Armando. With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello.
What's going on? So let's just get into it, man. What did you think about the episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it?
I liked it better than the last one. It felt more Westworldy. Mm-hmm. But there were a few parts. I guess we'll get into it a little more later, or maybe we can get right into it.
Just get into
the beginning.
Man.
I felt the beginning was pointless because the beginning starts off with Maeve that she gets put back into War World, kind of like a lobby, while she waits for her body to get printed. So it shows her there, and then she starts this whole scene where she just starts fighting, and it kind of shows that she got her powers back, and she's just kicking ass. And I know they use that as a way to show her that she's back to old Maeve, but that still doesn't... You already saw it, and that doesn't do anything for me because you're still in her world. You know, you're still in... You're essentially in the mate... Exactly, you're essentially in the simulation, so that doesn't mean anything. If her abilities work outside of the world, that's what'll really do it. So, I don't know, I just felt like it was a pointless scene just to have another scene with... What's this guy's name? The scientist that has the limp.
Yeah, the storyteller guy that created all the stories.
It was just another excuse to have him and her together. So, I mean, I just felt it was pointless. They should have just went right to her in the bar with him or something.
No, I agree with that. That whole scene was extremely pointless because it's inside the simulation, and there's literally no point in demonstrating any of that. If you already saw her in the real world, you know, quote unquote, maybe it isn't, but I guess we're leaning more towards now, yes, that she was in the real world and she took out those Yakuza people, or I mean, what was it? Those Yakuza guys. So you already know that she could talk to machines because she controlled their guns. So there's no point in demonstrating that. Like, you already saw her doing that. I didn't understand the reason. I guess essentially it was a pointless scene, like you said. They essentially wasted maybe like a good minute of story time you could have put somewhere else for that. It just didn't make sense. I think it would have been great for her to wake up and then just walk straight into the bar, like you said. Could that be she's plugged in again, you know?
Yeah, it's to kind of show that she doesn't give a shit about the scenario anymore. Like, she could have walked past all those guards with the people and kind of go like, who fucking cares? This is all a game anyways, and just go to the bar and start, you know.
Yeah, because she already knows what's up. So it was, you're right. It was completely pointless. That's not even a scene in my head that I was thinking I even cared about. But you mentioned it. It is something that it was very. There was no. It didn't add anything to the story.
Right.
You know, I didn't hate the episode, but I didn't really like it either. For me, I just felt very blah about it. I think there was a lot of moments that happened in the episode that I wasn't really feeling it in a certain extent.
I felt that this one, I liked this one more than the last episode because the main takeaway from this one was it was more of what are they calling her? The Halores
or Troloris.
More right, or Troloris.
I say Troloris.
And more of William. Which, those are the two main takeaways, and that's why I enjoyed this episode as a whole better than the previous one because I liked where their arcs went.
You know, talking about Troloris, I didn't feel her whole family love was earned at that point in time.
Really?
Because the last time we saw her, she just killed the guy for the kid.
Yes.
The predator, and that's it. That's the last time you saw her. So here she was already going, I care about my family, I care about this. I'm just like, I didn't get enough time with her to see that development of her loving her family. It just went from killing a predator to I'll do anything for my family now. And
I actually took the killing as the predator as I care for this kid, so stay the fuck away. So that's kind of what I took it as already.
But the thing is that felt like a first step. in a process of loving. It's not where like, oh, I killed this kid, oh, now I love you guys forever, you know. Like I think there should have been, we should have seen her more with the family, interacting with them, and more being like more attentive, I guess you can say. I think there was too much of a jump from the last episode to now of her just being like, oh man, I'll do anything for this family, like I'm gonna go out of my way to save them, and I'm you know, I'm worried about the kid, I'm worried about you, and like it was too much of a jump without seeing them actually interact with each other and build that relationship where she's like, oh, I actually love these people now, you know. I think the last time we saw her, it was a great first step of like, oh, she's realizing that these people do probably mean something to her. But where was that build up? Where was that, you know, relationship developing from the last time we saw her? I think it was too much of a jump.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that, but also this episode brought up I think it's what they brought up, that they kept the emotions of whatever the simulation has of Hale. So if Hale did care for the kid, she still had that caring. Because remember, we said, why do we have these emotions?
Because they all had emotions.
Right.
All the robots have emotions. So she was saying, like, why did you keep the programming of their emotions when you could have taken them out? Because if you remember certain past in other seasons, they used to like bring down people's emotions, or like, oh, stop feeling, and then they'll stop feeling, you know, when they were crying and shit like that, and they were uncontrollable, like, stop feeling or stop emotions, and they'll stop, you know. So that is pretty much, that's what she was saying, that, oh, why did you keep us with these emotions when we could have not had them, you know.
Right.
So I don't think it was just necessarily Hales or anybody. It's just the programming of emotions was still programmed into them, so they could feel, they could stress, they could care, they could love, they could whatever it is that they wanted to develop. So I think she was just questioning. Yeah, so she was just literally questioning Dolores of like, why did you let us keep this when you could have made us better without it, or something like that, you know. So I don't think it was necessarily to do anything with Hale. But what I didn't like is what Serac said when he was like, oh, when they were in a board meeting, and they were like, oh, you're the mole because you called your family. Charlie would have never done that, but Charlie did do that.
Yes, but he didn't have that data, because remember,
no, of course not. That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like
it's what you were saying before, that the redemption moment, he can't see that.
Yeah.
So it goes back to your theory.
Yeah.
So but, he was totally oblivious to that part.
He was oblivious to it. But in my head, I'm just like, she did do that, and so I now that you're bringing it up, because he never had that, so he couldn't see it. So okay, because we saw it, so that's why I just like why would you do that? We saw it, you know. Yeah. Okay.
We saw it, and Dolores got a hold of it because it was part of that part of the company, and that's the data he needs to complete. The predictions. Yeah, without that missing piece, he doesn't know who people truly are, and that point that you just brought up proves it completely.
Yeah, it does.
That she did. If it came to life or death, or if all hell was breaking loose, that's when she would do it. So
that's very true. But then is it something's still off though, because you remember that recording was had variations in them,
right? But so the variations, you think the variations is one's a simulation, one's real, but I thought, well, what we both thought in the beginning was the variations was just cut for time,
the editing. Yeah, I don't think so, man, because Westworld, these people pay attention to things too much to be an oversight.
Maybe,
you know?
They could pull a Game of Thrones and just be slipping this season, so who knows. I guess we'll find out near the end. But
yeah. So continue with Dolores. The other thing I didn't like that she did was when she was running away, and she goes into where they were building the bodies for Maeve and her people. What I didn't like is the fact that she was in that room last time. And I think it's because they don't communicate with each other. You know, all the Doloreses don't talk to each other.
Only when they call each other in those times. Yeah. There's no telepathy or anything.
No, there's nothing like that. But since they don't communicate with each other, so they don't know what each other were trying to do. But you're in the room. You have Maeve in the room, and instead of taking Maeve, she decides to kill Hector, right? I think his name is.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, why would you kill Hector when you had Maeve there? And then she ends up taking Dolores's destroyed unit. I'm just like, and you left the most powerful person there.
Well, here's the thing. She got Hector first, and she was heading towards Maeve when the shooting happened. And
yeah,
as she's running away,
Hector doesn't matter though. You should have just taken Maeve. Maeve is the key. Not a key, but she's the most important player. Like you're essentially by her killing Hector, she's killing a grunt for no reason. When you could have taken the captain or whatever, the top dog. So it's kind of like, why would you waste your time going for the grunt when you had the big person there in front of you? Yeah. And you could have just taken her.
Aside from it clearly being plot armor, it's just because Hector was the first one in front of her, and she was working her way. She was working her way down the line.
I don't necessarily think it's plot armor, because remember they I don't think they want to kill her. Because even the Japanese guy, he didn't want to kill her. He just wanted to take her. So I don't think it's plot armor. I
actually think they were trying to kill her.
The Japanese guy?
Yeah, he did. He killed her essentially.
No, but remember he was trying to take her pearl, but then people came in and he had to run away. And he went like that next time or something like that. Because remember when he killed her, he was gonna scalp her to get her pearl. But then people rushed in and he didn't get a chance. He's like, "Oh, leave it. We'll get it some other time," or something like that. He said. But the thing is, what I feel is that I don't think it's for plot armor or anything. I think is what I dread the most is drama for the sake of drama. So now Maeve is gonna have this revenge thing on her now, because before she didn't want to do anything to Dolores. She just wanted to get to the Sublime, but the Sublime, that was her quote-unquote goal, right? But now she's gonna want to kill Dolores because she killed her quote-unquote love, which is Hector. So I think this is just creating drama for the sake of drama, like another drive for her to go after Dolores more now. Yeah, that's what I think that whole shit was for. It was just to create more drama, and I hate that crap.
Which is interesting because you got her with vengeance now, but then you have Dolores, of course, her thing at the end where the car blows up when she has the kid and everything, and they're all dead. So she comes out looking like Deadpool, and she has her revenge now too.
Yeah,
which is going to be interesting. Obviously, she's going to go after Sirach because Sirach blew it up because you saw his goon in the corner.
Yeah,
but do you think that she'll blame Dolores for that too? I don't know.
Maybe because she's like, you left me out to dry.
Or like, maybe Dolores would be like, remember, that's not your family or some shit. And that.
Well, she did say that to her when she was like, I gotta get back to my family. She was like, they're not your family. He's like, yeah, you're right. Okay, so another thing, right? Another thing I didn't like. So after both of them knowing, Dolores and Dolores knowing that a takeover could happen at any moment, why did they save taking that data to the last moment? Shouldn't have been the first thing they should have done when they were in there? Like, I didn't understand that. And why wait till the end? Why sacrifice your own person at the end just to retrieve data that you had weeks, months to retrieve? Like, that didn't make sense to me. I'm just like, that should have been one of the first things you guys done, is take that data and have it just in case. And yet you wait to the very last moment, when you're already taking over, to take that data. That didn't make sense to me. I thought it was stupid. I'm like, they're making stupid moves. Like, they're supposed to be robots with
that their end game though, to take that data the whole time?
No, it wasn't their end game.
It wasn't.
Their end game was to essentially take it private so they could build more of them,
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is that, like, great. That's great you guys were trying to do that, but in the end, if all else fails, shouldn't you already have that data? And be like, all right, if all else fails, we already have this, so we could continue doing this somewhere else, But you wait to the last moment to do that. I don't know. I just, like, you had nothing but time to extract that data and take it. I don't know. I thought that was stupid.
But I don't think that's something you could just delete from the system and you have. You're pretty much saying, why didn't they take it, put it essentially in a safe, a digital safe? So
no, not necessarily. It was just like how they did the whole. At the end, you know how she had an external drive. She downloaded all the information and uploaded it.
Right.
Why didn't they do that from the beginning? Why did you wait to that moment to do that? I think it's just, again, just the drama for the sake of drama. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like that. I'm just like, you had all this time to take that chunk and you waited. And I was just like, that was just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty much just showing that they didn't expect the Sirach was going to take that extra step of like, nah, I'm not letting this happen.
Yeah.
So they weren't thinking 2 moves ahead.
Which you would have thought Dolores would be, you know, because she has already been thinking a few moves ahead, you know.
So the only, just to get on the writer's side, the only thing I could possibly think of is Dolores gave it to Choloris to do it. And she thought, all right, you're me, so you're going to think straight. But maybe since Choloris has the whole thing with the family, her mind's clouded, she didn't think it through. There's always that argument that could be said.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right, dude. I don't know. It felt cheap to me. That suspenseful moment felt cheap.
Mm-hmm. I just think about the action scene where she's fighting them all, and then the robot comes in, because I had seen that in the trailers a few times, so I was like excited to see it.
I liked it. I liked the whole sequence, except the MacGuffin of the sequence. The whole trying to get the data thing, but the entire sequence was pretty cool. Like, you know, her finally getting caught, quote unquote,
and poisons everyone.
Yeah, that was super cool. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. The moves, you get what I'm saying? And she was like, "Oh, I expected you to catch me," so she already had that gas to kill everybody with.
Right. Well, yeah. You're
so
right.
It's
but she
like
had that once they called her, hey, you're being called to the boardroom. She's like, fuck, he's got me. Yeah. But I know what you're saying. If she had that forethought, why didn't she have that extra?
Because, she had that in the safe. You get what I'm saying? She got it. She had all that shit in her safe. So she knew if worst comes to worst, I will have this ready. Just like the security guy did when he blew up himself up with all the people in there. So it's kind of like you already thought about these things. Like, in that safe could have and should have had that data you were downloading at the last moment. You know, you should have had that there already. So, okay, if I need to make my escape, I could just take all this and run or whatever. You know, some stupid shit like that. I think it would have been cooler if that was already, like, take away all her trying to extract that data and just have it from the moment where she's in her office trying to escape, and they're like, hey, you're getting called over for something, you know. And then I think it was a waste of time doing that whole, I don't know, that sequence. It's just like you said at the beginning, that just with the Maeve thing, I think there was just a lot of little extra things that could have been a little bit more linear to add more suspense, I guess.
You know what I've realized? I can't even remember if we talked about this last time. What's been missing? And I realized it once I heard William talking. So it cuts to the therapy scene where he's listening to everyone talk. And then he just cuts in and he does his fucking nihilistic monologue. And I'm like, that's what I miss about Westworld. Because Westworld always had Ed Harris and Anthony Hopkins with these epic just monologues of just like, damn, these are so sick. The first 2 seasons had this. And I'm like, damn, that's what's missing this season. There isn't really, I mean, there are monologues like Sirach did one, but it just didn't grasp me. And I know Dolores had a few, even Aaron Paul had a few, and I'm like, they're not bad, but they're not OG level, you know?
Yeah, of
when
course,
when I heard William do his whole story about all that, I'm like, there we go. There's that bullshit.
Yeah, it was good. Did you like his sequence of being in his own mind with his former selves?
Yeah, I actually liked it, and it was nice to see all the actors come back. So I actually enjoyed it, because to me it was. I hate to reference Last Jedi at this time, but you know the whole "let the past die, kill it if you have to."
Yeah,
that's essentially what he did.
Yeah,
because he's going through this whole, oh shit, even before that, the scene where he's telling the shrink, where he's really pouring it out, like, yeah, I killed my daughter, blah blah blah, and that's the exact moment that she's getting the stuff.
Yeah,
the data.
Did you
actually
read it?
Pause to read it? Yeah, I was just gonna say. Oh.
That was so damn.
So
She's
crazy.
So bad, dude. She's gonna get fucked.
But I like that it was the exact moment he was having his revelation, and I'm like, what terrible timing. And then she goes and hangs herself while he's drugged. Dude, it was just such that was such a great sequence. That whole part of that episode, I really enjoyed it.
During the whole William stuff, I kept saying to myself, right, when is Bernard coming in? When is Bernard getting there? When is Bernard getting there? I was anxious to see their interaction. That the whole time, the whole William sequences, I was just like, hurry the fuck up. When is this guy gonna finally get there and save you from all this bullshit you're going through?
Right. Nope.
So
he just kept going and going.
Yeah. And you got it at the end.
I love the scene where, of course, he's tripping, and then Delos goes, "William, it's not all about you," and I'm like, that's such a clever little line. The whole room full of Williams. It's not all about you.
It was good. I think what makes it better is his acting, dude. He's really good, man. He brings another level to the whole thing, and I think that's what makes it so much better and elevates the whole thing. It's just like when Anthony Hopkins was in there, dude. He just brought this whole different level of acting, and like you get sucked into that whole shit that's happening. So
he was missed. But what I was saying is that I like that they kind of closed the door on his arc, because I was thinking that this whole season is going to be him moping about the daughter, because now it finally kicked in. And yeah, he had those moments, but then he just kind of just closes the door and goes, you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. What matters is what we do now. And they even kind of, I don't know about you, but in the beginning where he had, where he was first put on the glasses and you start seeing the scene where he's like, oh no, dad's here, or whatever.
Yeah, when he was a child.
Right, I don't know if you thought this, but I guess that was the fake out, that you're thinking, oh shit, he had an abusive dad. Because that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit,
isn't that what happened though?
No, he didn't have an abusive dad. It was the reveal was that William was just violent always. The dad had nothing to do with it. The dad was like worried for him. He's like, what did you do? It's like, you broke this kid's teeth. And he was like, yeah, I should have broke all of them. Or you broke his bones. Yeah, I should have broke all of them. And then the dad's just like, whoa. So the fake out was that, oh man, that's why he's fucked up, because of his dad. But then it really reveals, nah, he's just always been a fucked up person.
But his dad was pretty violent though.
I didn't take it that he beat him though. It was just more like he's mad that he broke a kid's arm, and the fact that he's happy about it and wants to break more. So it was just him more like angry and shocked, like, this is my fucking child. He's not a good person.
But he did say that his dad was alcoholic though, and all that shit. So it's remember when he was like, why did you do that? He was like, oh, because people were talking shit about you. They were saying that you're alcoholic and you were doing all this, so I beat the kid up or whatever. But so I still think that his dad did those things to him. I just think I think he just started fighting back.
Did they ever mention that he was abusive though? Let's say you're right, and he was an alcoholic. Do you think that he was abusive to him though?
I don't know.
Because I don't think. I guess it could be inferred, but I just like the idea that it wasn't any of that, because you always try to see why is a person bad, but then every once in a while a person just is, and I just kind of like the idea of Man in Black just being that.
And interesting. I think I saw it with different eyes then, because I saw it as that being abusive, and I just saw it that moment of like, yeah, he's always had that violence in him, but it's because of his upbringing, because he was still scared of his dad. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, why was he so scared of his dad if his dad wasn't abusive? So
yeah, it's true. There is that.
So even when that door opened, they were all like, oh damn, not this, So they all hated that moment. They all dreaded that instance. So I still saw it as he was afraid of his dad. His dad is abusive, and he had a violent streak also. So I feel it's just a combination of everything. So I didn't infer it as that.
There was I'm sure you caught this too, when he was going through the therapy where they're like, oh, give him the blah 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 therapy. We give AR. It to the AR therapy. We give it to people with PTSD.
Yeah,
and
that's the same thing that this guy went through, Caleb.
Yep. And he even had goggles.
And the whole entire sequence, and the thing also they put up in his mouth, so he didn't get it in the military. Because remember, if you remember that when he was about to get thrown off the building, they're like, "Oh, thank God the military gave you that high tech gear in his mouth," and they elevated his levels or whatever. So now you know that he didn't get it in the military, so he has something else. Then something else happened to him, and it's not military related.
Right.
That military.
Well, I think he did. He was in the military, and then the PTSD of it is what made him go to the hospital to try and get reprogrammed, and that's where the implant came in afterwards.
Well, the thing is that, if you think it could be that, it could either the military gave it to him or he got it from the hospital, because those guys infer that he got it in the military. So there's two ways to see it, you know what I'm saying? Either one, he never had it and got it at the hospital, or he had it in the militry and it was used in the hospital.
That's what they use to control you, I guess. Probably like if you're about to go into a battle, accelerate your adrenaline. That way you're like, go in. I guess
and
it
shut
could
down
work
your
that
fear
way.
or some shit like that, you know?
That's true. I didn't even think of that, but that's kind of what they do to the hosts. So that'd be a very interesting thing if they talk about it next episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you're scared? Oh, no, we're going to hype you up. And they just fuck with you, and then boom, you're already a cold-blooded.
Yeah. You're ready to go.
That's an interesting one.
So, it gets... Now you understand Caleb's story more and how he got reprogrammed, because the flashback sequences were exactly what Bill was going through this episode. He was strapped to the chair. He had the AR glasses in his head and all that bullshit that was happening. The doctor who helped out William... Essentially, that guy. There was in a flashback scene. There's that guy, that older man in Caleb's flashback sequences. That was his doctor, and I think he ended up killing his doctor, maybe, or some shit like that. So, it's weird that now you're seeing what that center kind of does to people, and now you kind of understand that Caleb did go through that in that center. Yeah, so that's just pretty cool. Yeah, it is really cool.
There was one thing, I don't know, maybe I looked into it too much. So back to when Dolores was sending the data. She sent it, and it said data was sent to a GPS, and then it said it was sent to William. But then when they were taking his blood, they said that they found an unknown protein in his blood. Do you think that was a storage for the data, so William has the data?
Probably.
I rewound it and looked at it twice, and I'm like, I think that's what's going on. William now has the data. He is the safe. And that's probably why they had Bernard go and get him.
Maybe. Because the whole thing, there was a reason why the security guy showed him where Bill was.
Where he is. Yeah.
So, and that's the reason why he went after him. So maybe
they were planning that the whole time. They just took too fucking long for drama to do it at that moment when they should have done it earlier. But that was always, it shows that was always their end game, or not even end game, but that was always the next step.
Backup plan. Yeah. So maybe so. I didn't in that moment. I didn't see that. I didn't see the data transfer, and I didn't catch that. I just saw that it got transferred.
It said it got transferred to Mexico, and then it said GPS, and that's when they show William, and I'm like. And then that was when they did the blood sample, and it said unknown protein.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
So I was like, interesting.
But then the system goes haywire though, because I think that's when Bernard gets in there. So
it could also be the exact moment that the data shot out. Oh no, the data shot out before that. So never mind. Yeah, it could have been when Bernard went in.
Yeah, I think when the system went haywire during the blood testing, it was because of Bernard. But they also did mention that he was left there for a long time. So how long was he under the AR therapy? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Because
when all hell was breaking loose.
Because what is it, Stubbs or Chubbs, whatever his name is, he did say that there's nobody here.
Well,
and they left.
Okay,
them.
so William was in Mexico. So here we can already think. So what city are they in? So the amount of time it takes to go from that city to Mexico is how long he was there, and that's pretty much our answer. Because when they left, that was the moment that all the data was being released. When they saw the motorcycle on fire and everything. So I would say a couple
3
days.
hours. Maybe,
yeah. I would say days.
Well, I think aren't they supposed to be like in LA or San Fran in that scene? I think it's in San Fran. I think
it might have been San Fran because he's on a boardwalk. That looks LA-ish. Okay, so
yeah, I think that's supposed to be future LA or San Fran.
So let's say a few hours. So probably in that scenario, he was only supposed to be under that therapy for an hour, and he was probably there for maybe, I don't know, half
more
a day
hours
or something.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, because they did make it seem like he was there for days, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. He probably would have pissed himself by now.
Yeah.
So
he was at that center for days, but the AR therapy moment was probably hours.
It was probably hours longer than what he's supposed to be, which is probably why he had plenty of time to go through the whole revelation and kill everyone. I just love how they brought back the actor again. I'm just looking at him. I'm like, that's so funny.
Yeah, dude,
I forgot
amazing.
his name from. I forgot his name in Always Sunny, but I'm like, yeah, kill that fucker.
Yeah, he's a good actor, dude. Because he's good with comedy. He's done the drama pretty well, so I think he has some chops on him. I'd like to see him in more stuff.
No, definitely.
That sequence was also pretty cool. I mean, I think I was just waiting for Bernard to get there so bad because I wanted to see their interaction. I wanted to see if he remembered who Bernard was.
Yes, because Bernard doesn't know. Because remember how we were talking about? Oh, if they meet, they never met before, so it's going to be interesting. And that's why I said, "Is this who I think it is?" Because they don't really know each other.
Exactly. And it's kind of crazy because like, how would you not have met Bernard though? Because Bernard was the right hand man of Anthony Hopkins.
Well, maybe he did. They just never showed it within the show. So maybe with flashbacks, they can show whatever, Because obviously William was buddy. Well, not buddy is the right word, but he was aware of the going on inside. So I really hope. Obviously, the next episode is going to be a Caleb episode, which we already saw. I just hope. So what? It's one more episode after that.
Yeah, it's 8 in total.
I really hope the final episode is a Bernard episode because he's the one that's been lacking this season. There hasn't been any of him.
Yeah, and you don't know what his thing is either.
Right. So it's just kind of I'm so used to him being an integral part in the show. First season, obviously it was pretty much Dolores' show at that point, but he was still in there for the most part. In here, he's practically like a throwaway character so far. But I think that's also the point because he's part of something, but you don't know what it is yet. So maybe that is the twist of the season.
Yeah, he has a big piece to play here, and we still don't know what that big piece is. That's the biggest mystery right now. What is he for Dolores' plan, and why is he special?
Yeah.
Why can't he die? Mm-hmm. So that's the weird one right there. He
that'll
is something
definitely
big.
be that'll definitely be last episode, and it'll be So the last episode is essentially going to be what the hell's up with Bernard, Maeve versus Dolores, whatever Charlotte Orez is going to do, and next episode's pretty much Caleb's show.
Yeah, hers is going to be also interesting. Because she can't go out like that anymore unless she gets a new body built. So,
I don't know. Or she just covers herself up, or maybe there's something in the future where you can actually cover yourself up.
Or is essentially Dolores gonna dump her? Because she's like, oh, you diverted from what we were supposed to be doing. Because she went after the family, and she was trying to run away with the family, and Dolores was like, they ain't your family.
That was the weakness, yeah.
So
I don't know.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
You know what? I'm honestly a little disappointed that she didn't come out full skeleton to look like the cover for season 3.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
I was a little I'm like, it's still Tessa Thompson.
You know what? I think that full skeleton are the old models, like Dolores. Because remember, Dolores was one of the first models at the park, and I think that skeleton is for the old models. I don't think the newer models have that skeleton.
Maybe. We did see what the new one looked like when we saw Maeve's new body, that it was like the white, and then once it gets injected, that's when everything comes, which was really nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Because we had never really, we've seen him in the getting created, but we never saw that part of it. So it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, I really liked that part. Yeah, overall, man, it was a decent episode. For me, it was just something lacking in it, and I don't know. It was good. It just wasn't as good as I would have hoped it would have been.
I could agree with that. It's definitely not one of the better episodes. Probably the best one this season so far is 4, where they revealed that Dolores is all of them. That was the best.
That was really good, dude. That was really
Which
good.
was like the mother, something like that. That was great.
Yeah, that was a good reveal. That was a great way
Here
to
it
do
is.
it.
It was called the Mother of Exiles. That was my favorite. Yeah.
It was just how perfectly they blended it all. It was just on point. But who knows? Let's see what happens from here. We got 2 episodes left. Things feel like they're picking up the pace more now. I think it's faster. I think this episode was really fast. There was a lot happening, and it all happened very quick. So,
which is a good and a bad thing.
And that's why I say that's what I tell you about the family with Maeve. Not with Maeve, with Dolores wasn't earned because it was too fast. I think I needed an episode of her building. I mean, not a full episode, but I needed to see her with the family and like her becoming attached to them more, for her to feel like I need to save them.
If they would have got 10 episodes this season instead of 8, we would have got that for sure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you would have got it. We would have got it.
It's unfortunate they cut it down because they've been 10 episodes every season except this one, and it's just crazy how when an episode, because we always talk about how the Netflix shows, they go on too long, and it's like, there was so much filler, and in this one it's kind of like, damn, we kind of need that filler. But
the thing about Westworld is essentially like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones and this show were built on filler to expand the world, to expand the characters, so you could feel something for them. Without that, it just feels rushed, And
I know when we say filler, it kind of sounds like it's useless, but when we mean filler, we mean character development, world building.
Yeah. Those keys you just mentioned are the reason why we watch these shows. Game of Thrones, how amazing that show was before they got sliced the last 2 seasons. What made that show special was all those character moments that you had that added to you caring about these characters, to make you root for them or hate them or all this bullshit that you want to say or do. But those key character moments is what adds to that, and like I think this season doesn't have that because it's too short. And essentially I think it's short because of all the extra shit they've been doing. If you look at how all the CG they've added, these vehicles they created, that's all budget they needed to use, so it adds to it. So it got reduced partly because of that.
Yeah, for sure. I thought at first that it got reduced because the original set got burnt down because of the California fires, but then I looked it up and they're like, no, it was always 8. So maybe it's because of what you said. They're just budget reasons. They were like, no.
It was featured though. The burned down part of the set that got burned down.
I saw it.
When Bernard walks into the park again, that was the set that got burned down because of the forest fire, which was pretty cool to see that, and how they used it again for that moment, I guess. But yeah, I think it was because of budget reasons, of how extensive this season is in building the outside world, and all that budget got used to the CG and all that other bullshit they did. So
which it looks great.
It does. Great. It does look good.
Although just a little bit of a nitpick, I guess the car explosion, I was like, why does the fire look weird? The fire looks off. And then I saw the after episode where they did the whole behind the scenes, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know the car was fake. The car looked excellent. It was just the fire that threw me off for some reason.
But that's another thing I don't understand, because they had a real fire. So why did the fire look so bad when they composited it in? You had the fire. You had the explosion.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of shooting that practically, is to capture that, so you don't have to recreate it digitally. You add to it digitally.
I think it's
but you don't recreate it. It was weird.
I think it's because the vehicles weren't the same shape, so you had to probably bend the fire to be slightly different, and that bending, because I noticed it looked blurry for fire, and I'm like, why does fire look blurry? And that's kind of what it was. It was them faking it to look like that vehicle instead of the Jeep that they blew up. So it was just it was a nitpick.
So essentially, they blew up a Jeep for no reason.
They blew up a Jeep and it still looked fake to me.
Yeah,
but the vehicle replacement blew my mind. It was just
that was amazing. But at that moment, you should have just done it all digitally. Because if the whole reason why you do that shit practically is to recreate the explosion and the fire, so you don't have to recreate those things. I mean, so it could look real when you digitally insert other stuff into it, but you still manipulated the fire. So I don't know, what was the point? I don't know. Maybe they realized something was off and then they had to fix it post or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Nope, we pretty much got it all. I'm actually very excited for the next one. I really want to see what Caleb's story is all about.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
The Pandora's box is opening here in this episode, so let's see what happens. And I think we still have another Dolores host that we haven't met yet.
I was just thinking of that.
There's one more host we haven't met.
Maybe, because there were 5, right?
5
but
pearls.
I think the 5th. Oh, okay, yeah, because she was in one already. Yeah, you're probably right. Because I was saying, wait, the 5th pearl was Bernard, but then there's 4.
You have the Japanese guy. You have Hale, and then you have the security guy.
Right, and then hers.
You have
is
Bernard.
Her.
Yeah, and Bernard, if anything, there's one more. There's one more host left.
I was thinking of that too.
And apparently that host is in Germany, because Sirac, in the previous episode, they mentioned one of his security guys mentioned that there was something happening in 4 different places. One was LA, San Fran, the Singapore area, Japanese area, wherever the Japanese guy was. I forgot where he was, Indonesia or something like that. Right. And then the other one was in Germany. So there is, and we all know what all those were accounting for. One was Chalores, one was Dolores, one was the Japanese guy. So who is that one in Germany? Well, and what's in Germany that matters?
Okay, so you mentioned that pearl, I guess the missing pearl, but now Chalores got one, grabbed another Dolores pearl, the one that was in Maeve's. So there's another one out there.
Now you got 2 extra.
So I guess we'll see what's going on with that.
And the funny thing is that instance of Dolores was before she left the park.
Is it? It might be, yeah. Yeah, so it's an earlier version. But I don't know what instance that is. Where would they have gotten a copy? You're right. If they're going by the data that they have, it has to be from that.
Yeah, and that pearl was her unit was kind of destroyed, so it must have come from somewhere. Well, could it be when Dolores got killed, and then she became
Hale?
Could
be. The damaged pearl. It might be something from season 2. Yeah,
because I think Dolores did die. And then we had the realization that she was inside of Hale.
Yeah, I think the last episode is going to be what's up with Dolores and what's up with Bernard. And it'll probably come together with that a little bit. Or maybe they'll just keep that pearl in their pocket for next season. Who knows?
That's true. That's very true.
Because it is a lot for 2 episodes now. So maybe that'll be a backup. Like maybe they'll kill off Dolores and it's like, wait, that pearl's alive. Who knows? They can go anywhere.
That's true. They can't go anywhere. All right, man. Let's see what happens. We got 2 more episodes. Exciting. And hopefully they wrap it up nice.
Yep, I hope so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this review of Westworld Season 3, Episode 6. Let us know your thoughts. Did you enjoy this episode or not? What are your theories? So on and so forth. Till next time.
Bye bye.